Joe Biden blasts China's attempts to intimidate India in stark warning to Beijing. Joe Biden's administration has weighed in on tensions between India and China over border disputes, blasting Beijing for attempting to intimidate its neighbors. Emily J. Horn, spokeswoman for the National Security Council (NSC) of the White House, said the president is closely monitoring the situation. She also asserted the U.S. will stand with India against aggression and will work with New Delhi to advance shared values in the Indo-Pacific. Speaking to news outlet PTI, Ms. Horn reiterated Washington's support in response to a question about China's aggression along the line of actual control, lack. She said, "We are closely monitoring the situation. We note the ongoing talks between the governments of India and China and continue to support a direct dialogue and a peaceful resolution to border disputes." The United States is concerned by Beijing's pattern of ongoing attempts to intimidate its neighbors. "We will stand with friends, partners and allies to advance our shared prosperity, security and values in the Indo-Pacific region." It marks the first response from the Biden administration on the India and China border issues since his inauguration. Since May last year, Chinese and Indian troops engaged in clashes along the LAC after Beijing objected to Indian road construction in the Galwan River Valley. In June, 20 Indian soldiers and an unconfirmed number of Chinese troops died after a melee in Ladakh. Military officials have held diplomatic talks throughout the year to disengage from the LAC brawls. Ned Price, spokesman for Mr. Biden's U.S. State Department, stated Washington wants to be in lockstep with its allies and partners before engaging with China. He added it was no coincidence Mr. Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken initially interacted with European and Indo-Pacific leaders and noted we see our alliances, our partnerships globally as again this force multiplier across a wide range of challenges, and that includes in our relationship with Beijing. The spokesman then said, "We know that China is engaged in a range of conduct that hurts American workers. It blunts our technological edge. It threatens our alliances and influence international organizations. And China has engaged in gross human rights violations that shock the conscience. So we will counter China's aggressive and coercive actions, sustain our key military advantages, defend democratic values, invest in advanced technologies and restore our vital security partnerships." Under Donald Trump, the U.S. provided strong and unambiguous support to India during their clashes with China, according to Lisa Curtis, former senior director for South and Central Asia on the NSC at the White House. Speaking to a virtual panel discussion organized by Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank, she said, whether it was cutting off Vietnam's access to its fishing waters, undermining Hong Kong's self-rule, deploying military submarines to threaten Japan or contesting Indian territorial sovereignty along the LAC, Beijing has engaged in increasingly aggressive behavior throughout the Indo-Pacific, even as the global community has grappled with coronavirus pandemic. Throughout the crisis, the U.S. has provided strong and unambiguous support for India, and our cooperation has certainly grown closer. We are encouraged by India's strong, yet responsible approach to the Chinese aggression. China has warned the U.S. not to get involved in their disputes with India. Sun Weidong, China's ambassador to India, cautioned Washington on Twitter after Beijing noticed some remarks by the U.S. about the situation. He said on Twitter, "We have noticed recent remarks with reference to China by the U.S. side. We firmly oppose any third-party meddling in China-India border issue and hope the U.S. relations with others not target any specific country."